For Children's Day, my parents staged a Grandkids feast for our kin. I came straight from work and witnessed my own kids on the ground with disposable dishes while my sister's offspring feasted at the embellished table. My mother remarked, "They're familiar with scraps." My sister snickered, "You ought to be grateful they were served anything." I uttered no single word. I glanced at the next mortgage obligation and just hit terminate. And then the fallout. Have you ever felt like you were just the floor? The one everyone walks on. The one who holds everything up until one moment, seeing your own kids treated like leftovers, something just snaps inside you? That's what happened to me. My name's Arnold. I'm 36, an architect. I draw lines for a living, then spend months making sure they become walls that don't fall down. I'm the older child, the dependable one. My wife, Maya, teaches 3rd grade, bless her heart. We have 2 amazing, chaotic kids, Liam, who's 8, and Emma, 5. They're loud, sticky, funny, and always asking profound questions like, where does the sun go at night? We live in a small townhouse I'm constantly tinkering with on weekends. It still smells a little like fresh paint, because I just keep finishing things. Shelves, trim, a coat rack. I guess I'm really proud of that. In my family, I've always been the fixer. The one you call when something breaks, when someone needs a ride, or when a bill somehow duplicates itself. My parents don't say it out loud, but I know I'm the background son. The steady paycheck, the good insurance, the boring one who just shows up. Then there's my sister, Sophia. She's the golden one. The creative, charming, radiant star. She could spill coffee on the mayor, and my mom would probably call it performance art. She just talks, and people lean in. She has 2 kids, Max and Ivy, who wear perfectly coordinated outfits in every photo she posts. Her Instagram is filled with long, ethereal captions about intention and slow living. I usually just scroll past them, then go back to measuring stair treads. Childhood wasn't cruel, not exactly. It was just obviously tilted. Sophia's ballet shoes were always a priority. My cleats. Maybe next month. Her bedroom got a hand-painted mural. Mine got a lecture about responsibility. I remember when I landed my first internship, my dad said, "That's great. Don't forget your sister's car needs a tune-up." I thought, okay, that's what families do. They help each other. So I said yes. A lot. This year, Children's Day fell on a Tuesday. My parents decided to turn it into Grandkids Day because, it's cute, and they only have 4 little ones. They asked us to come over after work. I came straight from a site walk, still in my dusty boots, tablet tucked under my arm. Maya had parent-teacher conferences, so I picked up Liam and Emma from aftercare, changed their shirts in the car, combed Emma's hair with a little water in my hand. When we pulled up, balloons were tied to the fence. Inside, the house smelled like butter and cinnamon, that familiar, comforting scent of Mom's baking. There was a glittery banner in the dining room, Grandkids Feast. The table was meticulously set with a white runner, fancy gold plastic cutlery, and 4 name cards. Max, Ivy, Sophia, and Em, that was for my mom. Little jars of daisies, and this huge, kid-sized throne chair with a sash. Also photogenic. But my kids, they weren't in the dining room. I found them in the living room, backs pressed against the sofa, sitting on the carpet. On paper plates, they each had a scoop of macaroni, already crusted at the edges, a curled hot dog, and 2 grapes rolling around. Max and Ivy, meanwhile, were at the beautifully set dining table, eating chicken cutlets and mashed potatoes from my mom's good china, the kind she only uses for holidays. There were cupcakes, too, with tiny sugar crowns on top. 4 of them. I counted, without really meaning to. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "Why are you guys out here?" Emma just shrugged. "Grandma said it's the kids' zone." Liam didn't even look up. He was concentrating, sawing at his hot dog with a plastic fork that kept bending under the pressure. I carried my dust and my forced calm into the kitchen. Mom turned from the stove, a bright smile plastered on her face. "Arnold, you made it. Take your boots off, sweetheart." I glanced back at the dining table. Where should I set Liam and Emma? Mom waved a dismissive hand. "Oh, they're fine in there. Less mess. Besides," she added, almost as an afterthought, "they're used to leftovers." That word, leftovers. It landed like a small, sharp stone. Sophia leaned against the counter, her hair perfect, sipping from a stemless wine glass. She smirked, like the cameras were rolling for her reality show. "You should be grateful they got anything," she purred. Light joking, not joking. I looked at Liam, still sawing that hot dog. Emma had her little knees tucked under her, watching those crowned cupcakes like they were distant stars. My chest did that tight, familiar thing. It wasn't rage. Not yet. It was a slow, careful click. Like when a door that's been scraping on the floor finally finds the right angle and just closes. I didn't say a word. I just set my tablet on the counter. It lit up, showing my calendar. Tomorrow's site meeting. Thursday's client call. And right there, a reminder glowing in yellow. Mortgage due in 3 days. My thumb hovered over a different recurring payment. One I'd set up a year ago. Out of temporary help. I looked at my kids on the carpet, at the cupcakes lined up like a royal crown, at my sister's satisfied smile. And something inside me just settled. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I walked back into the living room, sat cross-legged beside my kids, and started cutting Liam's hot dog with my house key. That was the first click. The temporary help had started 14 months earlier. A phone call at 10:42 p.m. Mom's voice, like a weather report. Their mortgage rate jumped after the adjustment. Things are tight. Dad had surprise dental work. Sophia's freelance checks were delayed again. Just a little behind, she'd said. Could you bridge us over for a few months? I was in the middle of revising a stair detail. I looked at the numbers. And I said yes. I set up a recurring transfer, $1,050 on the first of the month to their mortgage. Just for a bit. Then came the utilities. One rough winter, $230 for gas, $118 for electric. Then Sophia's minivan needed brakes, for $187. Max's soccer registration, $165. Ivy's speech therapy until insurance kicked in, $320 monthly. I kept a spreadsheet, because I'm the kind of person who likes square cells and totals at the bottom. I told myself it was fine. Family. Temporary. The problem with temporary is that people get comfortable. The first month, you're the hero. The fourth month, you're the plan. The eighth month, you're the floor no one looks at because they just assume it'll hold. Meanwhile, our life wasn't flashy. My salary is steady, but it's not endless. Architecture is blueprints, not yachts. Maya's teacher paycheck is honest and small. We have a mortgage that squeaks if I don't watch it. Daycare used to eat us alive. Now aftercare nibbles. We budget. I drive a 12-year-old hatchback that sticks in second gear when it's cold. I take side gigs some nights, small permits, decks, a garage conversion for a neighbor. I run numbers in my head while I brush my teeth. And still, I kept saying yes. I watched my parents' fridge fill with those fancy yogurts Mom likes. I watched Sophia post blissful weekend getaways from a cabin. I brought over space heaters when their furnace groaned, then watched Dad give one to Sophia because she gets cold easily. I swallowed hard and rationalized. My kids are fine. We're fine. This is kindness. This is what grown sons do. Sophia's golden glow had rules. When she launched her studio, Mom and Dad threw a huge party. I built her shelves as a gift. She called my work rustic, which is what people say when they want to be kind about your free labor. When I sent her the drawings for a small ADA ramp her landlord required, she texted, "You're a lifesaver." Then immediately forwarded me the landlord's email asking for a stamped set. I paid my structural engineer friend $200 to help because I didn't want her to lose the lease. The small humiliations stacked in quiet piles. At my kids' birthdays, Mom would hand Max his present first, always the biggest bag. "Open, open," she'd squeal, filming him. He'd pull out a remote control truck that cost more than our weekly groceries. For Liam, she'd pat his head and say, "We're doing experiences this year for you, honey. We'll go to the park." Sophia would laugh and chime in, "Minimalism. It's all the rage." On Easter, Ivy got a custom basket with a tiny, embroidered dress. Emma got a Target bag with a sheet of stickers. Mom said, "It's the thought that counts." Maya bit her lip so hard I saw the white line. Money flowed like water in one direction. Words flowed the other. "You're so stable, Arnold. We're lucky to have you. Your sister is fragile. You know, the creative life. You can handle it. Be a good son. Be a good brother." Somewhere in there, I lost the thread of being a good father to my own kids, because the math didn't always let me say yes to them. The stakes went up slowly, like someone turning a dimmer. 3 months ago, Sophia called me, crying. At 7:06 a.m., "I messed up my taxes," she wailed. "There's a penalty. I need $2,300 just to file, because I forgot the quarterly estimated thing." She said she hated to ask. I Venmoed $1,000 and told her I couldn't do more. She said, "No worries," in that airy way that made it sound like I'd given her a glass of water, not $1,000 I didn't really have. 2 months ago, Mom brought up the idea of a Grandkids fund. She pitched it like a startup. Every month, we all put in for experiences, classes, college later. It'll make memories. She looked at me when she said, "We all," but her eyes landed and stayed there. "You could do $400, right? You make more than your sister." I said I'd think about it. She took that as a yes. 1 month ago, Dad asked me to co-sign on Sophia's refinance just to get her through this rate. He said it like he was talking about a flu. "She's almost there." He smiled the way dads smile when they want you to do the right thing for the team. I said no. It was the first no that sounded like a full stop. He got quiet. Then he said, "Don't be dramatic." Then came Children's Day. Maya had texted me at 4:11 p.m., "Please take snacks. Emma crashes if she doesn't eat by 5. I sent a thumbs up and swung by the house to grab apples. We arrived at my parents' place at 5:36. The cupcakes on the grandkids' table had little tags, Max's chocolate, Ivy's strawberry, and 2 with extras in faint pen. The extras never had names. They were for whoever was lucky. I don't think 2 grapes and a crusty macaroni scoop would have broken me by themselves. It was the comment and the smirk. They're used to leftovers. You should be grateful. The way Sophia's kids got glitter crowns that said Prince and Princess, while Liam and Emma sat on carpet lint, eating with plastic forks that kept snapping. In that moment, in the kitchen, with my dusty boots and my spreadsheet hiding in my phone, I felt the math invert. The plan I'd quietly been for the past year was about to change shape. Not out of revenge, not to be cruel, but because I looked at my own 2 kids and realized I had been teaching them something I didn't believe. That our family's comfort comes second to preserving an illusion. That Sophia shines, and everyone else is here to make her light look good. I didn't say anything that night. I watched. I noted which cupcakes got passed. I helped Emma peel grape skins because she said the skins are too loud. I listened to Sophia talk about her upcoming retreat in Sedona. I saw Mom tag me in a photo where Liam's head was cut off. And when I tucked my phone away, I knew exactly what button I would press later. And what line I would finally draw. It didn't explode at the table. It exploded at the presentation. After the kids had eaten, some more than others, Mom called everyone into the dining room. She dimmed the lights like it was a slideshow. She had printed sheets. Yes, printed, labeled Grandkids Fund. There were columns. A monthly target at the bottom, $800. Names with suggested amounts. Sophia, $0. In-kind contributions. Mom and Dad, $100. Hosting. And Arnold, $700. She had stars next to my name. Just to get us started, she said, beaming. Maya had arrived by then. She came straight from conferences, 2 tote bags slung over her shoulder, that exhausted teacher smile on her face. She squeezed my hand under the table. I felt my pulse slow and get heavy, like it does when a beam is carrying more than it should. Mom launched into her pitch. Experiences. Soccer, ballet, maybe a little Disneyland next summer. She looked directly at me on Disneyland. Dad cleared his throat and added, "We all have to sacrifice for the kids." Sophia smiled and chirped, "I can contribute in other ways. Planning, coordinating, creating a vibe." The word vibe made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. I set my printed sheet down. I'm not doing $700. The room paused. You could hear the fridge hum. Mom blinked. "It's just until I'm not doing it," I repeated, my voice calm. "And I'm ending the mortgage transfer next month." Mom's face did a complicated thing. Shock first, then hurt, then anger dressed as disappointment. "Arnold, that mortgage is what's keeping us in our home. I covered it for 14 months, I said. "That's $14,700, not counting winter utilities and everything else. You told me it was temporary." Sophia laughed softly. "Wow, he keeps receipts." I looked at her. "Yes, I keep receipts." Dad pushed his chair back. "We're family. You don't nickel and dime family." Maya's hand tightened around mine. "He's not nickel and diming," she said quietly. "He's outlining a boundary." Sophia rolled her eyes. "Don't turn this into a therapy session, Maya." I could feel heat in my neck, but my voice stayed even. "This isn't about revenge. This is about closure and boundaries." Silence. Then Mom went for the oldest tool in the box. "Your sister needs support. She's raising 2 children." "I am also raising 2 children," I said. "Who ate on the floor tonight?" "They like picnics." Mom snapped. "They like chairs," Maya said, even quieter. Sophia leaned in, her voice low and venomous. "You think you're better than me because you have a W-2. I think my kids deserve the same respect as yours," I said. "And I think money without respect is a leash. I'm done wearing it." Mom exhaled through her nose. "If you cancel that mortgage payment, we could lose the house." I pulled out my phone. Not to be dramatic, but because we were finally saying true things. I opened my banking app, scrolled to the recurring transfer labeled Parents. My thumb hovered, then tapped Edit. I set it to end this month. The button turned gray. "Effective after this month," I said. "You've got 30 days to adjust." Dad stood up, his chair legs scraping across the floor. "Get out," he said. But it sounded more like a ritual than a command. "If you won't help family, then maybe you're not family." "I am family," I said, standing up. "I'm just done being the floor." Liam and Emma were watching from the doorway, small, wide-eyed. I crouched and smiled brightly. "Shoes on," I said. "We're going home." On the way out, Emma whispered, "Do we get cupcakes at home?" Yes, I said. We stop at the store for the cheap ones with too much frosting. In the car, Maya let out a breath she'd been holding for months. You okay? She asked. Not yet, I said. But I know where the studs are now. I can hang new shelves. The call started at 8:13 a.m. the next day. Mom first, then Dad, then Sophia with a 3-line text that managed to include selfish, ungrateful, and hope you can sleep at night. By noon, I had 19 missed calls. By the end of the week, 47. The voicemails were a catalog: guilt, anger, bargaining. Mom, we will literally be homeless. Dad, a man takes care of his parents. Sophia, thanks for teaching your kids scarcity. I didn't respond right away. I went to work. I did punch walks. I marked up a pay app. I ate a granola bar at my desk and accidentally typed leftovers into a wall tag instead of left. I fixed it and laughed alone in my cubicle like a crazy person. At night, Maya and I sat at our kitchen table, my spreadsheet open. I read out loud, line by line, like we were cataloging lumber. Mortgage, $1,050 times 14. That's $14,700. Winter gas, $230 times 3. $690. Electric, $118 times 3. $354. Brakes, $487. Max's soccer, $165. Ivy's therapy, $320 times 4. $1,280. Sophia's taxes, $1,000. Maya added it fast on her phone. 18,676, she said softly. We've basically bought them a car. We drafted a message together. Not a clapback, not a thread, just a clear, short email to Mom and Dad with the subject, moving forward. I attached the spreadsheet. I've been covering the mortgage and other expenses for over a year. This was presented as temporary. Our household can't sustain it. Effective next month, I'm ending the recurring transfer and won't be contributing to the Grandkids fund. I will continue showing up for holidays if everyone is treated equally. I won't co-sign anything. If you sell the house, I'll help you move boxes and hang shelves. This isn't punishment. This is a boundary. I love you, Arnold. Then I sent a shorter text to Sophia. I won't be financing your life. Please stop asking. I put the phone face down and let the quiet sit. Day 2. The tone shifted. Mom texted. We were just shocked. Come over to talk. Dad called and left a calmer message about misunderstandings. Sophia posted an Instagram story with a quote about people who withhold love to control you, complete with a glittery background. I turned off her stories for 30 days. It felt like taking out the trash and hearing the bin lid close. Practical things took shape. I went to my parents' garage and picked up my boxes of tools because Dad had said, if you won't help, you can't store your stuff here. He said it like a slam, but it was a favor. I found my old chalk line, a box of tile spacers, that little level with the bubble I used when I built Sophia's shelves. I put them in my hatchback and drove home, the back end squeaking. I called the bank to confirm the transfer would end after the current month. The rep asked if I wanted to delete the payee. Not yet, I said, but I want the habit gone. I moved that $1,050 into a new line in our budget labeled Ours. I scheduled Emma for swim lessons. I ordered Liam the book series he kept borrowing from the library and renewing because he didn't want to give them back. A week in, Mom tried a new angle. She sent photos of loose shingles and a text that said, house falling apart. I replied, I'll come Saturday with my ladder. She wrote back, we don't need errands. We need support. I went Saturday anyway. I fixed the shingles. I left a note that said, this is support. Love. It wasn't petty. It was me choosing how I would help. Sophia sent me a long message on a Tuesday at 11:52 p.m. That hour people pick when they want to say everything and pretend it was the wine. You have no idea how hard it is to be me. Mom and Dad expect things. The kids expect things. You're lucky you like rules. Not everyone does. Max needs camp money. Ivy needs new shoes. Why is it easy for you to watch them struggle? I stared at it, then typed. It's not easy. It's also not my job. She wrote back. You're cold. I didn't answer. I put my phone on airplane mode and slept like someone had turned down a noise I didn't realize had been on for years. There were awkward ripples. Grandma called and said, family is everything. I said, my kids are family. An aunt texted me. We heard you cut your parents off. I replied, I stopped paying their mortgage. They are adults. She left it on read. At work, my project manager noticed I wasn't staying late every night. Everything okay? He asked. First time I've seen you leave on time 2 days in a row. I smiled. I'm building something at home. He laughed and said, make sure it's permitted. It was permitted. I wasn't detonating a house. I was removing a load I shouldn't have been carrying and moving it back to its proper place. A small, gray truth snuck in. Mom called, her voice small. We met with the bank. She sounded embarrassed. They can do a forbearance for 3 months. Then a sigh. We're going to sell the boat. The boat, 12 feet of fiberglass. Dad kept swearing he'd fix. Hadn't touched water since 2009. That's good, I said gently. I can help list it. What if we can't keep the house? She asked. Then we help you move, I said. To something you can afford. She started to cry. Not angry crying, just tired crying. We wanted to give you kids more. I know, I said. But you gave us a lesson instead. What lesson? She asked. That I don't want to do this to my kids, I replied. Another week. 32 missed calls total, then none. A quiet I didn't know I needed settled over our evenings. We ate at our own table, and I noticed how Emma arranges peas by color. How Liam tells a story in wide arcs that somehow land exactly where they should. I stopped mentally calculating other people's bills during bedtime. I said yes to an ice cream stop without checking the bank app first. On a sunny Saturday, we took the kids back to my parents for a short visit. I had told Mom, equal seats, equal plates, or we leave. When we arrived, the dining table had 6 plates. There were no name cards, no crowns, no glitter banner. Just food. Good food. Chicken cutlets, mashed potatoes, green beans. The kids sat together and clinked their plastic cups. Mom watched them like she didn't know if she was allowed to enjoy it. Sophia didn't come. Dad handed me the mail like nothing had happened. A water bill, he said. You know they charge you to make water, and then again to take it away. He was trying to be funny. I let him. After we ate, I went up on the roof to check the shingles again. Hammer, 3 nails, a dab of tar. It felt like the work I know. Clear problems, clear fixes. When I climbed down, Mom was waiting with a small container. For the kids, she said. Cupcakes. I opened it. For inside. No crowns, just frosting. Thanks, Mom, I said. She touched my arm. You're a good father, she whispered, like a secret. I'm trying, I said. On the drive home, Liam asked if Grandma's house was going away. Maybe the house is changing, I said. But Grandma and Grandpa aren't going away. What about Aunt Sophia? Emma asked. She's a grown-up, I said carefully. She'll figure out her own money. What's money? Emma asked, dead serious. I smiled. Numbers that should match the choices you make. Maya squeezed my knee. That's one way to put it. That night, I opened my spreadsheet and renamed it Past Support. Then I opened a new one and labeled it Hours. The first line was Emma Swim $168. The second was Liam Book Fair $125. I added another. Date night $140. It felt outrageous. And necessary. When I closed the laptop, the house felt different. Not bigger, not richer. Just finally ours. It didn't end in fireworks. It ended in boring habits. I stopped checking my phone every hour. I stopped being the emergency contact for grown adults. I started telling my kids yes to little things. Colored pencils from the art store, a $1.50 donut after school, 10 extra minutes of Minecraft. I started running again in the morning, 3 slow miles listening to houses wake up. I started leaving work on time twice a week and not apologizing. 2 weeks after the feast, Sophia texted, "So you're serious?" I wrote back, "Yes." She replied, "You're lost." I let it sit. A month later, she sent a picture of Max at soccer with a caption, "Found a scholarship." I sent a thumbs up. No lecture. Not my job. Maybe she felt that. Maybe not. Mom and Dad listed the boat. A guy from 2 towns over bought it for $900 cash. Dad looked weirdly relieved, like a secret had finally moved out. They met with a financial counselor at the bank. Mom told me in a small voice. They canceled cable. They started cooking at home. Dad fixed a leak himself and called to brag. We went over, and I said, "Nice work." And I meant it. We went back for Sunday dinner one night. No banner. No throne chair for cupcakes. One for each kid. No extras. Mom set a plate in front of Emma and said, "I saved you the biggest one." Then caught herself, looked at Max, then cut his bigger too, then cut the others to match. It was clumsy. And perfect. After dishes, Dad mumbled, "Thanks for the shingles," like gratitude was a language he was relearning. I said, "Of course." I put my hammer back in the trunk and felt like I'd finally put a tool away after leaving it on the floor for a year. On the way home, Maya asked how I felt. I thought about the numbers, the calls, the spreadsheets, the cupcakes. Like I moved a wall, I said. Not the house kind, the kind in my head. I don't want revenge. I don't want a scoreboard. I want a kitchen table where my kids don't learn that generosity means swallowing humiliation. I want a family group chat with pictures of missing teeth and school projects, not invoices disguised as love. I used to think love meant paying quietly and never asking for a chair. Now I think love is a chair and a plate that looks like everyone else's. I think love sometimes sounds like, "No, I'm not going to co-sign anything. I'm not a fund. I'm not a safety net stretched so tight that my own kids fall through. I will show up with a ladder. I will bring soup when you're sick. I will fix shingles. I will celebrate what you can afford. I will not be the floor. I won't allow anyone to teach my children that they're leftover people. I won't allow my stability to be a reason to ignore their needs. I won't allow guilt to run our budget. I won't allow silence to stand in for respect. And it's about building slow, careful, with lines that meet, something that can last. This has been a really tough journey, but one that I know I had to take. I'm curious, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts.